So I'm probably going to end up titling this one something along the lines of unemployment, living in Florida, and debt, interest, payments, credit, personal finance, buy now, pay later, loans. And we'll start off with unemployment. So unemployment, yeah, I've got some videos uploaded here recently. One was fired no notice, another was fired no notice, my last live stream part 2, and I actually have a few more videos that I've already recorded. I've got recorded and they're sitting on my computer and they're waiting to be edited and then published, or uploaded and then published. This has a lot to do, I think, with potentially no matter where you live, really. But I also have other videos in regard to living in Florida and the people who don't enjoy, who regret living in Florida, don't like living in Florida. And that could be one of the reasons why. The job market, your ability to earn an income, a income that would allow you and afford you the ability to live a life that would be deemed enjoyable. And the most recent numbers from experts and surveys and data collected is that the average income right now is $120,000. And no, I'm not saying it's the average income that people earn. That is the average income required in order to even be considered possibly for approval in achieving the American dream. And that would be buying a home, owning a home, home ownership, which I don't know, maybe that American dream is going to change now and evolve. This is completely unrelated, but we watch a lot of house hunters and I'm seeing a shift in house hunters in the dream of walking into a master ensuite or primary ensuite. Can't call it a master, that's racist. Yeah, they'll walk into these en-suites and these bathrooms and there's going to be a 50-50. They want a tub or they don't want a tub. And this is just an evolution. The dream has changed because nobody uses tubs anymore. Even the people who want a tub, they never use them. They're actually really, really filthy, especially if they have the little jacuzzi jets. They just get full of mold and mildew. And, you know, the fancy looking clawfoot, you know, it's a novelty, but the reality is nobody really uses it. So, unfortunately, unemployment, again, this is not solely based on Florida. It can make or break how you view where you live, whether you like it, enjoy it, or not. Ironically, if you wanted to get a job, you'd probably have better luck getting a job as a non-documented, undocumented migrant right now in certain states, certain cities, sanctuary cities, than others. But then again, what kind of job do you want? What kind of money do you want to make? What kind of lifestyle do you want to live? What kind of responsibilities and burdens do you want to carry on a regular basis? These are things you have to think about. These are things you have to consider. Now, Florida, I got to take a step back here and reanalyze some of the content that I've been producing and pumping out from my bubble, because my bubble is much like any other state. We specifically chose to live in a specific part of Florida for specific reasons. And that isn't always necessarily the case for everyone else. So when I think of Florida, when I talk about Florida, when I mention Florida, when I show you Florida, my Florida may not look like your Florida. And for those very reasons could be why you may not enjoy living in Florida, why you regret moving to Florida, why you would want to leave and move away from Florida. But this could be for any state. There are going to be good areas, there's going to be bad areas, there's going to be okay areas, there's going to be areas that are good but still have bad things happen. So there's really no perfect place, but if unfortunately you do live in an area that is primarily, in a majority sense, not good, undesirable, problematic, high crime, high homelessness, high drug use, high police activity, high unemployment, high business closures, high poverty, high amount of people on food stamps and government welfare and different things like that. Yeah, maybe you don't like living there. And again, I have to take a step back and realize, as I read your comments, the perspective of my perspective and possibly your perspective. For instance, I enjoy Florida. I really like Florida. But at the same time, I don't love going to certain parts of Florida, which is why I didn't choose to live there. I chose not to live there. So when I say Florida, I mean where I live. And I'm not trying to, make it seem like, look at me and, I live in such a great place. I'm just saying, like, I get this bias based on my surroundings and, my atmosphere of me creating content. Literally, when I walk outside the door, what do I see? What inspires me? What sparks the creative juices and gets me going? And then I come across a video like this one here. Of someone talking about downtown Miami. And guess what? Downtown Miami is in Florida. And I can tell you guys right now, based on this video, there's absolutely no way I could enjoy living in downtown Miami. But, and with that being said, I would not be inspired to walk out of my front door any day of the week and make a video about how great it is to live in Florida if I lived in downtown Miami, because it's probably not. Unless perhaps you are of the caliber of extremely wealthy and you live in Brickell or wherever, somewhere where it's very affluent. You drive a car that probably costs more than $200,000 brand new, and money is not an issue for you whatsoever. And then your lifestyle is probably going to be aligned with a much different crowd, and all the negatives, all the cons that we would consider to be drawbacks to living in downtown Miami, you wouldn't even notice them. You would never notice homeless people unless they came up to your window of your Range Rover or your Bentley Bentayga or whatever you're driving, Rolls Royce SUV. You wouldn't even notice them. You really wouldn't. Aston Martin SUV, crossover, doesn't matter. You wouldn't even notice them. And yeah, I mean, even middle class people, even like lower level, high income earners, were probably, we're talking about folks that live in downtown Miami and they also have another home somewhere else. They probably are season ticket holders. They have floor seats. They have, all sorts of access, and, they have a lot of money. Okay. And to them, that would be great. But again, from perspective, if they were to tell someone how great it is, well, if that person isn't of the same mindset and of the same financial and income level and income bracket as them, then they may not really find it as enjoyable. And that leads me to number 3 here, being debt, credit cards, financing, loans, which ultimately are going to have a major impact on how people view their employment, hopefully, and not their unemployment, and where they live, as it has an impact and will have a determining factor in your ability to survive, which I got to tell you guys right now, heads up, forewarning, it's coming, it's happening, it's actually already here. This is the greatest wealth transfer that we have yet to ever see, but it's underway right now. And this is not, a knock on Walmart or Affirm or anybody else who's offering these services, because they're offering these services as a form of solution for the consumer. Remember, we talk about B2C all the time. They're offering these services as a form of solution to the consumer as well as to the business, the B and the C. The B wants to produce sales and revenue. The consumer wants to have the ability to afford, or at least make the purchases and finance. And it's supposed to be one hand washing the other. But history has shown and taught us that not everybody is going to be as fortunate and as financially responsible, or maintain employment and be able to make the payments required without falling into this trap, this dangerous debt cycle and trap. And they will ultimately collapse under the guise of this wealth transfer that we are experiencing. And that will have an impact on how you view where you live, whether you like it or not, or where you shop, or how much things cost, or anything like that. But it is, in essence, their plan, their strategy to extract and pull out as much from the economy as they can, whether or not those engaging in it can actually afford it. How's Publix?
Not bad. The lady who went through the 10 items or less with 200 items held up the line just a little bit, but it was okay. And I'm not exaggerating. She had like 2 carts full.
And she got nuggies?
And she got chicken nuggies. Or popcorn nuggies. Popcorns? I don't know what to call them.
I can tell you my problems, meditating my silence. But I keep pushing my pen, rotating my stylus. Brokenness feeling like sin, now no breath, low dollar. Used to be left on red, now all the girls go holler. Now all the girls go follow. All the fake fans gon' pop.